Alright, boom! Welcome back, guys. Gabe the Great. Back again with another video. Hey, man, this time I'm going to try not to curse in the first 30 seconds. Because if I don't curse in the first 30 seconds, YouTube will push my video out, okay? Now, y'all know I'm anti-algorithm. I don't think you can bring down the system or try to appease the system. But at this moment in time, I have something that I'm really excited about that I really want to share with the people. And I really want to get it to as many people as possible. So I'm not going to, like, you know, whore myself out to the algorithm. You know, I'll not curse for the first 30 seconds. But my camera says we're out 46 seconds. So fuck that shit. Hey, today what I want to talk about are journalists and journalism. Okay? One of the reasons why Americans can't be radicalized, which, by the way, so let me start there. One of the problem is not Donald Trump, and I've said this many times over, and I talk about this in my manifesto. There is nothing you can do about people like Donald Trump existing. People like Donald Trump will always exist. The issue is not whether or not Donald Trump exists and the people that he surrounds himself with exist. That's not the issue. The issue is, do they live in a society? What kind of society do they live in? Do they live in a society that rewards them? Or do they live in a society that punishes them? It's just that simple. And we live in a society that rewards men like Donald Trump with all the power in the world. Okay? And one of the reasons for that is because our journalists just suck. And what I mean by that is, if you go back and look at revolutions, many, if not most to all of them, were started through journalism. They were started through persuasive writing. They were started through people passing pamphlets, radicalizing the people, saying, this is what we need to do. We need to rebel. We need to revolt. We need to, like that's where it came from. It came from educating the people and letting the people know, like, hey, this is what's happening. But now we have this journalism system where we don't even have journalists. We just have media companies. Everything's a media company, right? It's all about media, right? And the issue with these guys is, and I've said this in past videos, they're doing reporting on Trump because it's good for the bottom line. I talk about this in my manifesto, but the big problem with the United States of America, or any society, is that it's not the ruling class. You have to have a ruling class. Equality is a myth. It was just the Trojan horse we used to trick the white supremacists. That's all equality was, period. Equality is just what we did to to use the white supremacist words against itself to give us rights. Okay? This is why I need people to get a lot more radicalized about white supremacy, because the history of the United States of America is nothing but black people, poor people, and women and gay people outsmarting white supremacy, because the Constitution is a document that explicitly excludes all those people, and all these people have done for 200 years is use their words against them. But it was never about equality. Equality is a myth. None of us are equal. There are some of us who are better at the things that society values. This is why society needs to name its values and not just put in a system that protects those values. But the system has to account for people within the society that don't hold those values, or don't hold those values to the levels that we need leadership to do. That's what journalism is. Journalism is supposed to tell the public what's going on. The problem is we don't have enough radicalizing journalists. And journalism has become a slop fest where I need to report on whatever gets me attention. And I need to report it in such a way that gets me attention. Okay? And so now you have this issue where, and I've talked about this before, like, it's too late now, but I talked about withholding your vote. And the reason why I talked about withholding your vote was because the principle is, hey, if you vote for the lesser of two evils, eventually the most evil person wins, which is the situation we're in right now. Journalism works the same way. If you make journalism all about attention grabbing, and not about actual change in the community, and not about actual change in the society, well, what happens when you have a guy who is willing to say and do whatever to get attention, right? It all works in his favor, right? For Donald Trump, there's no such thing as bad publicity. I can't talk right now. There's no such thing as bad publicity for Donald Trump. Like, people think Donald Trump is stupid. People think Donald Trump is unintelligent, but y'all keep reporting on him like we don't know what he's gonna do. Today, I'm gonna tell you what Donald Trump did today. He broke the law and he lied about breaking the law. That's what Donald Trump did today. I don't need CNN to tell me this every day. I don't need MSNBC to update me this on every day. They are giving into the chaos. They are giving into the fear, right? Because Americans need to be radicalized. It's just how it is. Like, you have a legislative branch that just voted to give Donald Trump the ability to deport U.S. citizens. Why do you guys think you're free? Why do you guys think you're going to have rights? And this is what journalism don't get. Journalism is supposed to be the voice for the people, right? When systems fail, the journalists are supposed to be the ones who speak for the people. And y'all don't understand that if y'all don't get more radical right now, you will not be able to get radical in 2026. You will not be able to get radical in 2027. You will not be able to get radical in 2028. Your cowardice, your inability to stand up for what's right, your inability to radicalize the people, to write in such a way that invokes change in people, not just gets them to click, but it evokes emotion. It evokes change. It evokes radicalization. The other side knows how to do that, and the other side has been doing that for over a decade. This is why they're winning. They're winning because they have radicalized a group of people to the point where they don't even need that group of people anymore. Like, I genuinely believe the majority of the time you go online to argue with people, you are arguing with bots. You are dead ass arguing with bots many of those times. America is in such a dystopian place right now. Like today, and it has been. And people don't understand that you need a leader who is going to walk the country through nihilism, who is going to walk the country through the existential dread that it's in right now. Because we need journalists who are going to get radical. We need journalists who are going to call for a constitutional convention. Hey, this man is breaking the Constitution right and left. We need a constitutional convention. We need journalists who are going to write about why is nobody using the Second Amendment. And we need the big networks. We need CNN, NBC, and MSNBC, ABC, everybody that's not part of the Fox News network or whatever, right? All those outlets. Like, you guys need to go. I told you this. The high road is morally reprehensible when you're dealing with evil. All superheroes murder. All superheroes murder. And that's the problem with journalism. That's the problem with journalism today. You guys are trying to protect pockets. You guys are still trying to succeed in the system that you hate. You don't even like the system. And you're trying to preserve it. Donald Trump is giving every American in the world to just say, fuck it. Fuck all this bullshit that we've been enduring for all these years and all these decades. Fuck it all. But you don't have people who are writing that. You don't have people who are radicalizing people. You don't have people who are taking it that far. And that's how far we need to take it. We need to take it to the point of, we need a constitutional convention. We need to take it to the point of, yes, we need to revolt. Yes, we need to rebel. Why? Why? Because we tried the civil way. If we do things civilly and the system cheats itself, right? What is federal rule of procedure number 1? The only action is the civil action. Okay, cool. If we do things the civil way and the system messes itself up, we can't do things civilly anymore. You can't write civilly. You got to put attitude. When they're threatening journalists, you don't, oh, I'm worried for my job, nigga. What about the millions of Americans or thousands of Americans who are losing their jobs? What about the kids who are being deported? We need to radicalize. That's the problem. Y'all think there's something wrong with radicalization. All radicalization is getting people back to their ideals. That's all radicalization is. And so, yes, these people's ideals is that white people are better. That competent white men need to be in charge. Yes. And they will lie to themselves and tell themselves that a certain white man is competent even though he's not, just so that they can get what they want. Radicalization is nothing more than getting people to actualize their ideals. So yes, journalists, you need to write in such a way that radicalizes America. You need to report in such a way that radicalizes the ideals of justice, that actualize the ideals of fairness, of due process, of freedom, of equality, justice. Like, you need to write in such a way that radicalize these things. You keep assuming the people have these values, but your president and your judicial branch and your legislative branch doesn't. Like, the whole country is in denial, and we need the journalists to help bring us out of denial. We are in an abusive relationship with Donald Trump, and we've been in an abusive relationship with Donald Trump for over a decade, and the journalists need to write us out of it. And until they do, it's going to be very, 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 very hard for people to get it. All right? So that's what I want to talk about today, man. Get y'all heads out of y'all ass. Go write some radical shit, bro. Go report. Stop reporting on Donald Trump. Start telling the people what they need to do. Start telling the people who they need to follow. Start telling the people that the websites that they need to go to. Take people out of the MAGA system. Take people out of it. Get people out of that system. Stop getting everybody fighting with each other. And we know Donald Trump's a bad guy. Nobody needs to be convinced at this point Donald Trump's a bad guy. We need to be radicalized into what we need to do. That's what needs to happen, which is we need a new constitution, period. No ifs and buts about it. There's no reason to go back to this constitution. This constitution intentionally excluded the majority of Americans out of it. And now they're not even respecting it. If you don't beat them to the punch, they're going to beat you to the punch. Because y'all keep trying to tell yourselves that you are entitled. You're not entitled to justice. You're not entitled to fairness. You're not entitled to goodness. You will actualize it, or you will die underneath a government that wants to actualize the opposite. That's how this works. You can tell yourself it works differently. You can tell yourself that your God is going to save you. You can tell yourself that, oh, I trust the process. You can tell yourself that it's all going to work out. Okay, and you will die. And I'm not trying to be mean, nasty, or, like, y'all don't realize there are entire generations of people whose lives get summed up in a paragraph in a history book. We casually say 6 million Jews died in the Holocaust. You know how many families that is? You know how many brothers that is? You know how many sisters? You know how many laughs that was? You know how many smiles? You know how many set of eyes that were? You know how many journeys that was? You know how many legacies that just got cut off from the... Do you know how many lifetimes that is? 6 million lifetimes. Just cut off. I'm saying, man, we need journalists going to radicalize us. Love you guys. Bye.